Wonder if New Guy sings the lyrics of our comeback songs as we get into it next week. That's
Sorry,
your
I
foremost thing.
didn't have his mic turned on fast enough.
Thank God I'm a country boy.
Yeah, you are a country boy, but proud of being one, too.
Yes, sir.
Danny West joining us here.
Danny West is probably proud of being a country boy.
I would say as well. He is he covers the Razorbacks and recruiting for 24/7 Sports at HawgSports.com. Danny, are you all right if we refer to you as a country boy at the start of this? I think you probably would be.
Completely fine with that, boys.
My man.
Proud of it, just like SmackDown.
Yes, sir.
Smack, we're going to miss you, buddy.
Good.
I appreciate that,
I
Danny.
wish you the best, man. You've done a great job, and we're going to miss hearing you.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah. Well, I'm a city boy, too, and you seem to like me. We seem to get along fairly well, Danny, so you don't just have to be a country boy to be friends with you, right?
That's right. Hey, I'm versatile in who I'm friends with. So, yeah, Pennsylvania, Arkansas, doesn't matter, buddy. So
you're over at Razorback Stadium right now, and this has to feel so good for you to be in the stadium. The recruits, it's camp going on. You get recruits coming in for visits, and it's like we start one by one. Things started to feel to get back to normal as far as life was concerned, and then sports was concerned. And now that you can have the face-to-face in the camps, it just must feel like for you, it really is finally, maybe for the first time, back to normal.
Great point. I was telling RD and Dudley and some of the guys out there Monday, it's good to be back and feel normal. I mean, when you have a recruit walk up to you and they stick out their hand and there's that little hesitation moment of, can we do that? And, yeah, of course you can, right? Seeing the coaches and, you go all fall last year and you try to stay as far away from people as possible because you did not want to be the reason that somebody couldn't play or couldn't coach that week. So now that that's out of there, buddy, it sure feels good to be back. This is the third camp this week so far. We'll be back at it again tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So I think there was a total of 8 events over the span of 10 days. And now it's a little bit hot, but I'm not complaining. It's really, really good to be back out there and see all the guys and, see some of the current Razorbacks running around and working out. It's been a long time coming and a lot of fun. First camp now for Sam Pittman, if you think about it. He couldn't do his camps last year, obviously, so it's kind of brand new for him, too, as well.
Well, you're right about that. I was going through in the first hour, and I want to hit on the recruits that you had brought up earlier on when we were texting. But I was trying to go through some reasons of why I'm optimistic about this next season for Arkansas, and I had plenty of names there that I think are reasons to feel that these guys are going to have really good seasons. I'm talking about guys like, let me find my list here. Like Traylon, like Grant, like Tykeus Crawford, but I put KJ Jefferson on the cautiously optimistic because I only saw him for the one game, and I don't know if I can go by that. Does the season could the ability for Arkansas to win more than 3 games hinge on specifically KJ Jefferson?
I think it absolutely does. I think they've improved the offensive line by bringing in more talent, getting a lot bigger in the weight room, and just the experience. The second year behind the same offensive line guru in the head coach. Now, obviously, there's been a transition made there within the position group as far as assistant coaches. But I can tell you this, Cody Kennedy, who switched over from tight ends to offensive line, he was without a doubt the guy they wanted to take over that room. So I think they feel really good about him. It really does come down to KJ. How consistent can he be? We know KJ's a gamer now. He's going to have some big game moments. We saw flashes of that against Missouri. 4 touchdowns, so many deep shots down the field. When the lights come on, it's not a case where you go out there in a spring scrimmage and he just blows you away with, 75% completion rate. In fact, at times you begin to worry about him a little bit in terms of consistency and accuracy. But it just seems to me he's more of a gamer. When the lights come on, he steps it up. But he's going to have to do that over a 12-game schedule, back to back to back, with one of the toughest schedules, again, in the whole country. So I think you're absolutely right. I'm curious to see how maybe they can sprinkle in Malik Hornsby. Those of you who came out and watched any amount of spring ball, you watch him take off, buddy. I don't know how they need to factor him in, but he's got to be in the picture somehow. That's quite a burst that they haven't had at the quarterback position in a long time. Matt Jones probably was was the last one I could think of.
Wow. And, of course, one of his teammates at Arkansas is now the tight ends coach, and Dowell Loggins, and a longtime offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in the NFL. Like, this can only be good things. But, it looks like somebody in Coach Loggins that, we had Clay on yesterday, and he's talking about Dowell wants to be a head coach in college football. And, tight ends coach is a starting point. You got to learn how to recruit and everything. And just based upon what I've heard about Dowell and what I saw on the video from him, he seems like somebody that's really easy to speak to and probably should be able to slide right into recruiting and do very well. What are your thoughts on him?
You would think so on paper. I mean, the guy's been everywhere. I had a chance to actually meet him yesterday, and just really personable and easy to talk to in our brief encounter out there yesterday. But I think it's a fit. And, you hate to project which coaches might leave and all that stuff, but we all know Kendall Browse has been a hot commodity. You see him involved with on some of these hot board lists every time a new job comes open. It's just hard to imagine he's going to be here, for 10 years. So at some point, Kendall Browse might move on. And, hey, here's a guy that's been a coordinator at the highest level on several different occasions. So maybe he's a guy that could potentially, at some point down the line, step in and fill that void for you. I think people would feel really comfortable with that. It's a tremendous hire. Even if you were bringing him in, Phil, as an offensive coordinator, I think people would have been thrilled. But now you're just getting him as a tight ends coach. Heck yeah, man, sign him up. I think it's a really good fit. Makes a lot of sense, him being from Arkansas.
You just cut in real quick here on this, too, because I know that you don't – look, a tight ends coach is supposed to coach the tight ends, but it also feels like he's almost like an analyst offensively, and the guy's worked with NFL quarterbacks as a quarterbacks coach. Like, is there anything that, maybe he might be able to help KJ a little bit, right?
Yeah, just a different set of eyes, seeing something different, fresh look at things. And obviously this guy has watched a lot of film in his day, so just from a schematic game planning type standpoint, I think there's a lot of value in adding a guy with that much experience for sure.
Danny West joining us here on Halftime. Danny, I want to keep it with Dowell just for a second. And obviously you talked about how important he is to the staff and maybe even moving forward. But from a recruiting standpoint, in your mind, just covering recruiting as well as you do, how important is it to have a guy like him on this staff, being a former Razorback, to try to – obviously Sam Pittman and company can recruit a kid just based off, like, you need to come to Arkansas, it's your best opportunity to win and blah, 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 blah. But Dowell can bring a different point of view from this, being a former Hog. Yeah. So how important is that for high school recruits to hear it from a actual former Razorback that'll be coaching them?
Yeah, we've seen guys in that position have a lot of success here. You think about way back, Tim Horton was as good as there was. James Shebest, obviously, who had played here. Coach Lonnie did a fantastic job in that role. So I think it is important to have somebody who's worn the uniform. They know what the walk is. They can answer a lot of questions, not so much from a football standpoint, but from an area standpoint, telling parents and kids about the area and being able to talk academics and what Arkansas can offer from an academic standpoint. There's a lot of value in that. So, it wouldn't surprise me. Dowell has been away from the state for a long time, but I would probably emphasize his ability right here within the state. A lot of people still remember that name, especially in the coaching circles, I'm sure. So, value in that as well. Good point.
You mentioned a little bit ago with just official visits. It's things are just really starting to feel normal and you enjoying it right now. Got a couple guys that are coming up for official visits right now. DJ Allen and Jalen Lewis making their way up to the Hill for their first official visits with Arkansas. And then probably trying to recruit also 2024 defensive back Maurice Williams and 2022 linebacker Jaylen White. Can you tell us about any of these guys and hopefully get some of these official visitors, get them locked up here as Razorbacks?
Yeah, I'll start with DJ Allen. 4-star wide receiver out of Gladewater, Texas, 5'11", 185. He's got offers from just about everybody, USC, Auburn, Baylor, just to name a few. Those are just a few that he's set official visit dates with. Kind of surprised me that Arkansas is getting one of his 5 visits. So keep an eye on that with Kenny Guyton recruiting him. Jalen Lewis is he's a 3-star, but, man, he's got a 4-star type offer list. A cornerback out of Tennessee, Brownsville, Tennessee, Haywood High School, 6'1", 178. He's got Auburn, Michigan State, Oklahoma, Arkansas, obviously. I think he's taking a trip to Indiana here in a few weeks. So big-time offer list there. And the other two you asked me about, Maurice Williams. 2024 safety. He was here yesterday. He's 6'1", 185 out of Shadow Creek High School down in Pearland, Texas. 2024 now, so he's just going into his sophomore year of high school, and he's already got Arkansas, Baylor, Ole Miss, Houston, and Coach Jeff Traylor, obviously at UTSA, has already offered him as well. But Maurice told us yesterday that Arkansas is already on top of his list. So it's still a long way to go here, boys. But I think that's one that they feel really good about for the future. And I'll wrap it up with Jaylen White out of Little Rock Parkview, 6'2", 200 safety, kind of a hybrid outside linebacker, potentially a 3-star guy for the current class. He's got Louisville, Arkansas, Baylor. I think Michigan State has offered Jaylen. And, Arkansas has done really well at Parkview High, so wouldn't shock me if they continue that trend with him. He was up here earlier this week. I want to say yesterday as well. All my days kind of run together this time of year, but keep an eye on that one. Jaylen White from Little Rock Parkview.
Hey, Danny, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you this. And me and Phil were kind of tossing this idea around, and we got this from Zach and Perigold, I believe, is who texted us in, and posed a question for the year that Kevin Kopps had for this baseball team, just transcending the game and just being one of those first-name guys that anybody in college baseball knew about. And he posed it in a way, could Grant Morgan have that kind of a similar year? He had an outstanding year last year, first-team All-American, and I don't know how much better you could get him, maybe just win a few more awards, but do you think there's some possibility that Grant Morgan can have a Kevin Kopps type of year this upcoming season for this football team?
It's kind of hard to compare just because it's two different sports, kind of apples and oranges. But certainly, we saw it last year. He was up for some of those awards, and rightfully so. I felt like he probably should have won the Burlsworth Award, but that's neither here nor there. Water under the bridge. But, I certainly look for big things from Grant. Coming back, I thought it was really huge to get that key component back in your defense, and hopefully that's a good comparison at the end of it.
So, Danny, I saw where a few days ago you had a little run-in with Coach Muss in Tawnytown, of all places, at your local convenience store. What is going on there? What is Muss doing in Tawnytown? Unless he lives there, and I don't even know where he does.
Yeah, you know what? There's a gas station that I frequent quite a bit. Shout out to Mike Zupo and his family. They own it. It's called Z-Mart. And I happened to pull up there, and I was backing out, and as I did, here comes Coach Muss. And I said, what in the world? What's he doing in Tawnytown? But apparently they were coming back from somewhere west of here, and I think he needed some gummies and Diet Pepsi is what he said. So, it was good to see Muss. We're big time here in the land of the grapes.
That's exactly right. I got to get out to Tawnytown sometime soon because that's where Bubba's facility is located, or right at the border of Springdale and Tawnytown. So it's one of my favorite places to go.
Yeah, come on by anytime. Y'all are always welcome.
All right. And we'll get some Italian food, too. Appreciate you, Danny. It's really fun having you on the show.
Danny.
Let's do this again sometime.
You got it, buddy. Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right.
Danny West from 24/7 Sports, HawgSports.com. And, of course, you probably already follow him on Twitter. There's 31,500 people do at Danny West 24/7. We are brought to you by Riley Farm Dental at 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A. It's at Highway 71, Riley Farms. Dr. Bo Sparkman and Dr. Brogan, serving to give patients better lives and comfortable experiences. They provide all dental procedures, braces, implants, cosmetics, and you're going to feel incredibly comfortable. The moment you walk in, you'll notice you're part of the Riley family, Riley Farm Dental family. They're voted top 3 best of the best every year for 4 years running. That's Riley Farm Dental, 226-3500 or RileyFarmDental.com. After the break, we wrap it up, halftime homework, and does SmackDown get an incomplete or a flunking grade?